Matt Mercer and the guys at Wizards of the Coast dropped the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, Wildemount, however you say it, Wildemount. In that, we got 2 new Wizard subclasses and a new Fighter subclass, all of which I think scratched an itch that we've really been wanting for subclasses in D&D. And I'm just kind of going through them right now. We're going to look at the Chronurgy magic wizard. I've seen a lot of homebrewers try to make time wizards or chronomancers or basically this concept before, and as to whether or not they were actually balanced for 5th edition design, that's a whole other subject. But the Chronurgy magic wizard subclass, so let's take a look at this. Focusing on the manipulation of time, those who follow the Chronurgy tradition learn to alter the pace of reality to their liking. Using the ramping of anticipatory dunamis energy, dunamis is referring to a essence of magic in the Critical Role campaign setting. These mages can bend the flow of time as adroitly, in a clever or skillful way. As a skilled musician plays an instrument, lending themselves and their allies an advantage in the blink of an eye. As a Chronal Shift, you can magically exert limited control over the flow of time around a creature as a reaction. After you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you makes an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, you can force the creature to re-roll. You make the decision after you see whether the roll succeeds or fails. The target must use the result of the second roll. You can use this ability twice, and you regain any expended uses of it when you finish a long rest. Really, whenever I've had characters trying to come to my table to play a time wizard or something similar, they play the School of Divination, because Portent is a more focused, you can guarantee a higher, or a certain roll with that. Chronal Shift, it's going to be useful. I think with Portent you have more certainty. With Chronal Shift you don't, but you can at least cause this effect to happen. I think it works. I think for narrative, it does everything you really want it to do. You know, especially me as a DM, if I see someone bring one of these to the table, I'm thinking immediately like a deja vu sort of narration, right? Where like they feel like they hit, but then they're suddenly hit with this momentary emotional or like perception of just awkwardness in it, and then they realize like their attack missed. Yeah, Chronal Shift looks good. Again, less certain than Portent as to whether or not it's more powerful. I think that's situational. Portent is more reliable than that. Temporal awareness, you add your intelligence modifier to your initiative rolls. I think this is a common thread I saw in a lot of the attempts at making a chronomancer or time wizards. Everyone just kind of felt like something like this belonged with the subclass, and I totally agree. Momentary Stasis, 6th level Chronurgy magic feature. As an action, you can magically force a large or smaller creature you can see within 60 feet of you to make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. Unless the saving throw is a success, the creature is encased in a field of magical energy until the end of your next turn or until the creature takes any damage. While encased in this way, the creature is incapacitated and has a speed of 0. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, a minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses of it when you finish a long rest. It's not very unlikely that a wizard at this point, because we're after 4th level here, can have an intelligence modifier of +5. I think that the number of uses of this, honestly, it's funny because this effect is crazy good. What happens whenever a creature is incapacitated? Can't take actions or reactions, and it has a speed of 0. Can't use its turn for really anything. This effect is pretty intense, especially to get it so many times. Like even at, what is it, 6th level? We're gonna say, let's be conservative here and say that for some reason you didn't invest into intelligence, and you can do this twice, maybe once or twice in a fight. That is a significant effect. It being tied behind a Constitution save. Lots of creatures have proficiency in Constitution saves, especially above the CR6. As to whether or not this is too strong for a feature, I think this is their biggest power spike that they're getting. I like this for the concept. I would have to really see how effective this gets in play. I think Momentary Stasis has the potential to be absolutely absurd. However, I think right here, I'm reluctant to say that it's outright way too strong for 5e design. Arcane Abeyance. So 10th level Chronurgy magic feature. When you cast a spell using a spell slot at 4th level or lower, you can condense the spell's magic into a mote. The spell is frozen in time at the moment of casting and held in a gray bead for 1 hour. The bead is a tiny object with AC 15 and 1 hit point, and it is immune to poison and psychic damage. When the duration ends, or if the bead is destroyed, it vanishes in a flash of light and the spell is lost. A creature holding the bead can use its action to release the spell within, whereupon the bead disappears. The spell uses your spell attack bonus and save DC, and the spell treats the creature who released it as the caster for all other purposes. Once you create a bead with this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. I actually love this. I really do. I love this idea of using, like, manipulating time and space in a way to where it actually affects the spells you cast, in such a way to where you can literally create these beads of the magic itself. That's a really, really cool feature. It's basically a way for you to make grenades, really. I mean, you know, you throw Fireball into one of these, even at like 3rd level, that's intense. I love giving spellcasters more ways to do their stuff. I think that this is really unique. I think that this is a major identity shoring up feature for the Chronurgy wizard. I can't necessarily think off the top of my head what spells fall into this that I think would make the game inherently unbalanced. You can't use cantrips with it, because you have to use a spell slot. It can be destroyed fairly easily. I generally just think this is a great... You get it on a short or long rest. I don't really see a problem with this. I really don't. And I'm trying to think of ways, like certain spells that are coming to mind, maybe like some conjuration spells. I don't know. I just don't really think anything is going to be more potentially imbalancing than some of the other stuff I've seen from like Necromancy Wizard, Transmutation Wizard, Divination Wizard. Generally, I think Arcane Abeyance is a really cool feature, and I think it's going to allow for a lot of creativity for your wizard, and honestly, just allowing other creatures to like pop this thing. Like, I dig it. I dig it. I love the flavor of Arcane Abeyance. I'd love to hear of anybody that thinks of a situation in which this is an issue. I just don't see it right now. Convergent Future. You can peer through possible futures and magically pull one of them into events around you, ensuring a particular outcome. When you or a creature you can see within 60 feet of you makes an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, you can use your reaction to ignore the die roll and decide whether the number rolled is the minimum needed to succeed, or one less than that number, your choice. When you use this feature, you gain 1 level of exhaustion. By finishing a long rest, you can remove... Only by finishing a long rest can you remove a level of exhaustion gained this way. Okay, so, okay. For this feature, so you gaining a level of exhaustion for Berserker Barbarian was particularly detrimental. The reason I think that this is less detrimental on a wizard character as compared to a barbarian character is that of all the stuff that happens in exhaustion, you know, your disadvantage on ability checks, your speed getting halved, that is less detrimental to the wizard because the wizard isn't trying to use their movement speed as much as it is to a barbarian, right? As important as it is to a barbarian. Because immediately with a level of exhaustion, as soon as you get disadvantage on those ability checks, it basically just makes all of the benefits of your rage for helping out your strength ability checks, like you just roll a straight check. Then, whenever your movement speed gets halved, it's harder for you to get into range to hit with a melee attack. So that's more difficult. However, with Wizard, neither one of those is necessarily something that you're going to be super impeded by in combat, especially here at 14th level. Now, only by finishing a long rest can you remove a level of exhaustion gain in this way. If you can pop this 2 or 3 times in a fight, this is basically legendary resistance. This, essentially, it is legendary resistance. Ability check or saving throw, you can use it out of combat. No, this is better than legendary resistance because it works on attack rolls and ability checks. Okay. Wow, so Convergent Future. If I were playing this, I would never multiclass in anything else other than... I would never multiclass. I would play this all the way up to 14th level. I would see no reason to go anything else other than my wizard because this is capstone worthy for some classes. It's definitely fitting as the end-all be-all for this Chronurgy wizard. Man, that is crazy good, though. That is... Okay, makes an attack roll, an ability check or saving throw. You can use your reaction to ignore the die roll and decide whether, basically whether it succeeds or fails. Jesus. Okay. That's better. I think that's better than important, because you're able to influence it. You're able to influence it to either succeed or fail, your choice. The wordage on that, I think, could have used another pass. Yeah, I think the wordage on it could have been, you can use a reaction to decide whether the creature succeeds or fails. I think this, or one less than the number, whatever, that's all a bunch of, that just seems unnecessary wordage right there, and it's kind of against 5e convention. I think the level of exhaustion might honestly be a little too low of a resource to expend on that. I don't know. I'm going to see what Ross and Benjamin and maybe like what Steve Fiddler, some other guys say. Convergent Future, wow, that's good. That's really good. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. In general, I think that Chronurgy, the Chronurgy wizard, I would give an S to very easily. Does all the things you're expecting it to do. I think it very much embodies time magic very well. This is one of the more balanced versions of it I think I've ever seen. And big props on, I'm not sure if it was Matt that designed it. I need to actually get the physical copy. I've just got it over here on D&D Beyond. Man, this looks solid. I would allow this on my tables easily. And honestly, not a whole lot of campaigns get up to this 14th level. So, I mean, even most of the modules end at 11th. I think in general, this is a solid subclass. I am stoked to see what else is in here. The Echo Knight Fighter looked really killer, and Graviturgy, I'm a sucker for gravity magic, so yeah, I'm gonna check those out as well. What do you guys think? Leave it down in the comments below. If you haven't yet, you can go check out my Patreon, where I am giving out, I actually have done the tiers for my different patrons over there. If you want to go check that out, you want to get some of your homebrew actually reviewed, maybe even spotlit on my channel, have me, Ross, and Benjamin all take a look at it. That's all available over there on my Patreon. Other than that, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube things, and yeah, stay safe out there, and I hope I see you in the next one.